Shalom, people. This is Brother Lyles coming at you with another video. And this time I have my lovely wife with me, Bridget.
Shalom.
This is something that I had promised a long time ago that we was going to do. And we finally getting around to doing it. It's a prayer list that we had made up some years ago. And there's definitely been a lot of progress on some of the things that we've been praying on from this list, and we just wanted to go over some of the things that we have been praying over. And we're not going to go over everything, but we just want to talk about some of the things that the Most High has brought to pass. We made this list up, I think. My wife, she said it was
2018.
I think it's something like that. It was definitely before the COVID that this list was, done, because, at that time we was really anticipating, to see what the Most High was going to do in 2019, because although we didn't believe that, we were going to be taken away from America in 2019. We kind of felt that it was going to be some changes in the earth. And as we know, in 2019 came, things started moving very quickly. So we want to get to it. We want to start at the top of the list. And we're going to try to briefly talk about how we believe. And some of these things we added to the list since we started it. Some of it was here, but then some of it, like this one right here. This was I put down free all 12 tribes from the land of our captivity in 2020 with reparations and restore us back in the land according to Ezekiel 37. Now, obviously, this one has not been fulfilled, but what we do see is that not only here in America, but worldwide, you see all the places where our people were scattered and dispersed. You see where people, like in Jamaica and other places, they're saying we want reparations.
Yes.
We can see in the some of the African nations also are looking to what happened to their nations during colonization, and they're also saying not only to the Europeans, hey, you gotta let us run our own nations without any interference. And you're seeing where they're also asking for some of their art pieces and stuff back. They're asking for them back. And also we look at the situation with what's going on with the land according to Ezekiel 37, where we're seeing as black people, as Hebrew people, all the nations that our people have been going to in the last couple of years trying to seek refuge from America. We're pretty much seeing where a lot of those nations are kind of pushing back against us, even like when some of us are fleeing to Africa, South America. You're seeing where these nations are, even though we're not causing that much stir, it's like nobody really wants to accommodate us. And so we know it's got to be some place on this earth where we can go. It's got to be. But we know that that land that we do believe is ours is still yet occupied, but we see there's a fierce fight over it right now, where tens of thousands of people are dying. So I said let my wife say what do you think about that? There are 12 tribes in a worldwide captivity.
They are the 12 tribes from the land of our captivity worldwide, with reparations and restores back in the land. I believe that God got it in progress right now. You can't see everything up front, but I know He's yet He's yet in the progress of working these things out.
And on that reparations things, I don't necessarily believe that America is going to willingly give us the reparations, because me and my wife talk about it all the time, that when the COVID and all that came, we kept saying to each other, they're giving our reparations away. They're giving our reparations to Ukraine and all these. But we know Yah has a way of, if you don't give it willingly, he can do other things. So I don't know how it's going to work out, but some kind of way, what they got that belong to us is going to be ours.
Yeah, it's a lot going on in the land right now, and I think it's prophecy being fulfilled. Obviously, we can't go there right now because it's occupied. But as you know, that the war that is going on now in Israel, I think God is in the plan, if you know what I mean.
Yes, he definitely is.
If you really think about what's going on right now, for the land to get cleared.
Yeah, a lot of people since the I think it was October 7th of last year, when the Hamas attacked the Israelis, and they said that once the war started, there was a lot of people that started fleeing. Israelis started fleeing from that nation. Maybe not permanently, but I think they said at its height, it was about 30,000 people a month leaving out, because it was like, until this war is over, we don't want to, be here. So I don't know how that's going to entail, but whatever's going to happen, Yah's word is going to come exactly the way it said. How he goes about doing it, we leave that up to him.
Yes.
So now we're going to move on to let me see here. Let's do this one. Okay, this is one right here. We pray. We've been praying that Yah will pour out the spirit of repentance, fasting, and consecration on all black people worldwide toward Yahuwah and his son Yeshua. And we've been kind of seeing that. But I understand Bible said as we get close to the end, wicked men shall wax worse and worse. But it also, scripture said, when evil will flood in, the spirit of Yah shall lift up a banner. So that means as it gets darker on this earth, the sons and daughters of light, they're going to show even more. So we don't have a pessimistic or nihilistic view, because we see more and more wickedness being displayed on this earth. We know that soon, and even right now, we see sons and daughters of light standing up. Maybe not in total understanding of what they're doing, but you do see young people, right? Just like in every age, like when me and my wife were young, and within our age group, when we were teenagers, there were young people that were receiving from Yah the spirit of repentance, to want to start doing the right thing. But the only problem was, you had wicked and perverse men and women that took that willingness and perverted it. But this generation is a little bit different. They don't, for good or bad, they don't have that much confidence in the elders like we did. We kind of was pointed toward, like, if you want to know, you gotta, and that can be good or bad, but they kind of are moving in the direction that they feel is right. Sort of like looking at that guy in Burkina Faso, Toure. He's a young man, but he's doing the right thing over all those elder people there in Burkina Faso. He wants to do right. And I see that even here in America, where you do have some young people, men and women, that want to do the right thing. But of course, the news is not going to show that. But we do. And we have some in our family that we know. My wife have people in her family that she know that are young. and even our son, one of our sons, we see that. So it is there, but the news is not going to promote that. They're going to promote those that's out here doing evil. What do you think about that?
Yes, definitely the youth right now in this time and period, they don't just go by things that the past Christians or people, believers have went by.
Yeah.
They reading the word for themselves, and if something don't correlate to what the word says, they don't have no problem asking questions. Whereas we basically obeyed through blind obedience. We just took it. We just took, what the elderly people told us in the church, what they say was gold.
Yeah. Because that's what we was raised to blindly. Right. So it's not bad to obey your elders, but to blindly.
But it's okay to ask questions.
Yeah,
because we don't know.
We wasn't encouraged to.
Yeah, we don't know it all.
Me and my wife were both raised in that time period where it was called seldom seen. When you came in a room of adults, you were supposed to find a corner and keep your mouth shut and not get involved in, they say, grown-up business.
I'm sorry. And there's so much information out there now.
You don't have to ask.
They can research. Yeah. They can see what you did in the past as far as religion and how people carried themselves, how people indulged themselves in the world, and the different things they did that so-called we thought was hidden.
Yeah, we thought it was a good, me and my wife talk about all the time. There was no such thing as the good old days. It wasn't. All it was is they took pictures in black and white and they dressed nice. But underneath that, and it's not to degrade, they did the best they could coming out of slavery or whatever. We came out of the debauched system. Slavery was definitely diabolical sexually. We know what was happening to our men and to some of our women. So for us to have any kind of sanity about what was ordinary and what was right, it was a miracle that we tried to gravitate to what somewhat was right when we came out of slavery. But we understand that some of us didn't come out of that thing right. And then when Jim Crow came, that was even worse. Yeah. And so then when our people had the opportunity to cross over to the whatever white side, whatever you want to say it, in the northern migration, when they went up to the cities and they was introduced to all this stuff that they didn't see down in South Carolina, Alabama, whatever, they just kind of went buck wild. And but even still, we did hold on to some semblance of godliness, if you want to use that word, but it didn't have no power, because more and more as we started shaping and molding ourselves into our oppressors, former oppressors' image, we also took on some of their attributes. We just had our black spin on it. We just had our religious spin on it. And now that's why we had this prayer for repentance to pour out upon, not that nobody else is involved, but we're looking at our people, because we believe, I know my wife believes this too, that when it comes to morality, there was no one in this country that was having any morals outside of us as black people. Our oppressors didn't have no kind of morals at all. It was a few of them that did definitely help us during slavery with the Underground Railroad, but even to some extent, even like William Lloyd Garrison, he even said, I want to help the black people, but I don't, when they get free, they're kind of going to be like an animal needs to be led around and shown what needs to be done. That's kind of the extent that he felt, that I have pity on them. I want them to be free. Once they're free, I don't really know too much what they're going to be able to accomplish on their own outside of getting help from us, which was totally ridiculous. But again,
we can see the amazing things that our ancestors did right after slavery. And it always blows our mind. And it's like, baby, they just came out of slavery.
They just came out of slavery.
How can they become congressmen and
without their help?
Become businessmen and never went to school?
The freedmen.
Yeah, the freedmen.
Yeah, the freedmen.
And it's just amazing
Yeah.
what you could do when you seek God, when you
Yeah.
seek His face, and when you get in the Word for yourself. Not that we weren't getting in the Word, but we blindly followed and we didn't ask a whole lot of questions.
Yeah.
And like we said, now these youth these days, they're gonna question you.
Yeah.
They will question the heck out of you.
So we thank the Most High to see, like I said, the spirit of repentance upon a lot of them. What they might not necessarily be doing it the way you doing, like running to some church building or whatever. But when you get out here and you look at some of these YouTube channels, some of these Instagram channels where they're at. Now, of course, it's gonna be some that's not, doing it for the right reason. That's in everybody. It's a lot of them that are there,
Yes.
young, in the faith. Some, prophesying. Not saying all of them are real prophets or prophetesses, but unless they're putting themselves out there for y'all to use.
Yes.
And unlike the prosperity preachers that we had back to contend with.
Yes.
A lot of them, they have jobs and different things. Mm-hmm. They're doing this because they see a need. The Spirit of Yah is raising them up. Yes. So now the next thing we want to talk about on this list is we're going to skip to this one right here. We've been praying that Yah will bless married couples worldwide to love each other and to produce millions of healthy, happy black children. Mm-hmm. Now, that kind of, if you look at Africa, you kind of see more of that kind of going on over there because we know that the African continent has the youngest population in the world.
Yes.
What they're trying to do now, of course, is spill a lot of debauchery and different things over there, and they keep hitting at the foundation of Africa with the LGBTQ thing. They're trying to destroy traditional marriage, where they have made a great dent here in America with the black population here. But even here, there is still some black couples, younger now. Of course, we're a little older, but we've been together. But we still do see some young black married couples together. But of course, that's not gonna be lionized in the media. But we gotta speak it out for this generation. That's why we're praying. We continue to pray that Yah will continue to bless these married couples worldwide to love each other and produce children, because that was a command that Yah, and even though we got all this stuff going on, if you can think of a situation worse than slavery that we were in, tell me about it. But even during that time, our men and women were producing children. So there is no excuse for you young black married couples out there, unless one of you is going through some kind of illness or something. Other than that, you should be producing children, because this is a command of Yah, and it is a good thing, and it says a blessing. And we definitely do see that, not on a level that we would like, but we continue to pray for it, and we continue to pray for the married couples that are in Africa that are continuing on and have so far been untouched by the Western media that's been trying to get them, especially in Ghana, especially in Kenya. They've really been trying to put their LGBTQ stuff out there to disrupt them, but they have been holding on, and Uganda too. They've been, now they do have their own issues. They, the thing with the polygyny, that is definitely there. But we have somewhat the same here in America with these babies, daddies and mamas and stuff like that, although they're not married. But within that, we're talking about those that are one man, one woman that have children or having children. So that's what we praying for. We seeing it on a daily basis, not as much as we want to, but we continue to pray for it. So what do you think about that?
Yes, definitely the youth for today. I think they're very
Shaniqua. That's a good example. Go ahead. Yeah, that's a good example. I never thought she would get married.
Yeah, the youth for today is very cautious.
Yeah.
I think they have looked at the things, our record, the things that we have done as parents, and those that have been good parents. It might possibly you may get some grandkids.
Yeah.
But even those that are raised in a good environment, it's just something that they're not interested
But it's
in.
still enough of them that's not a total what's that word I'm trying to it's not a total wash.
No,
it's
I'm not saying it's wise.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying they're very careful.
Yeah.
And that could be a plus.
But I'm saying when people look out there and they're like, they're those kids, they're not. But then you see with Shaniqua,
it's a plus.
Yeah.
Because they're taking their time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's a lot of youth, present and past, just rushed into relationships and didn't take the time to really get to know the people. And then they're so disillusional. Well, you didn't start off right.
Yeah, they didn't get the right foundation.
Right foundation. So the youth now have heard these horror stories, and I think they want to make sure that they're going to have the perfect fit, really get to know the people that they're going to fall in love with, so that they can produce lots and lots of beautiful babies.
Yeah, in a healthy environment.
Yes.
So you have a mama and daddy that's
be married
on one accord.
And stay married.
Yeah.
Not just I'm in love and falling head first.
Yeah.
And not really thinking things through. These kids are very particular.
Yeah.
And very cautious.
Yeah, but we continue to pray over this one.
I think they're gonna have the kids, but it'll be a better generation with them doing it that way. I believe thinking things out and really taking the time to choose their mates wisely.
Yeah, if y'all would delay his son coming, but if he does, like I said, we somehow, some way, I do believe when he come, there gonna be people that's gonna have been married that's gonna be on this earth.
Yes, I truly
So because like I said, and it's just a friend of ours, her daughter. I never would have thought that she would get married, but she got married. So that's probably happening in other places, but it's not, of course, being elevated.
Yeah, they're just taking a little more time than we did.
Yeah,
and I believe the results are going to be amazing.
Yes,
I think once they find their perfect mate, that the relationship will be long lasting, and with that time, they'll make some beautiful children.
Because we didn't really have a lot of information on how finance and other stuff.
Oh yeah, because it's so much information they got out there now.
Yeah, the information
they can pull up.
Yeah, it's just that sometimes they don't take advantage of that, but some of them are.
Oh yeah.
So now we're gonna move into some of the tougher things, or you might use the word, that we've been praying for. That some of you might sound kind of rough to you, but because of the things that we have been observing, this is something that we really was dear to our heart because of what we've been seeing happen to our people, and kind of even like with the elections and stuff. But this is one of the things that was on our prayer list too, that we've been praying over. We have been praying that y'all would destroy black leaders worldwide who are selling out and betraying our people. And I put especially Democratic Republic of Congo, Nigeria, Mali, Kenya, Somalia, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Togo, Benin, South Africa, Zimbabwe, the Gambia, and of course here in America.
Yes.
And when I say destroy, I don't necessarily mean that you gotta kill them per se. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying destroy their careers where they can't come back, and replace them with younger people, especially here in America with our black. Because now what you see is so many of the mayors, so many of the police chiefs, so many of the attorneys are black. While this world is going down the tube, and they are the worst of the worst. You look at that lady in Dalton, Illinois, Tiffany Henyard, or whatever her name is, doing all that crazy stuff, but she is just the tip of the iceberg. You look at the Congressional Black Caucus that has been around for years and years doing all that, but when you want to look at the most disheartening, destructive stuff, you look at these leaders in Africa. Now, I know that they're quote unquote puppets, but still, they have to be willing puppets. And we've been praying, and in some areas we have been seeing some progress, where you like Toure, which you see in Burkina. Now that wasn't on this list, but you can see it. Burkina Faso, Mali. Now Mali was on the list. I had Niger. I didn't have Niger. I had Nigeria. But you look at those countries, and now what you're seeing is all the countries in West Africa are kind of looking to them, even though they don't have quote unquote democratically elected governments. They have men in the position that are doing right toward their people. So now this is putting those African leaders on notice that your people are looking at these guys and saying, hey, we want leaders like this. We the same kind of people. Why come you can't be like that? You ain't no different than him. And so what have they tried? They have tried to take out Toure in Burkina Faso. They have tried to take out the one in Niger. They tried to take the one out in Mali, but they're not allowing it to happen. They've been so far successful, and even though they say, oh, y'all took over the government by a coup, so you shouldn't be surprised that there's going to, but a lot of those coups that they're trying against them now is not coming from the inside. They're coming from the outside, because the Western government see that the people are behind these people. Yeah. Even though they took over the government by coup, they seen opportunity to do right toward the people, and they kick those wicked leaders out. That's what we was kind of talking about, that he would destroy the leadership abilities, even like what happened in Liberia, where the president, when he lost, they said this was the first time in decades that an African leader, he lost. He stepped away. He didn't complain. He didn't try to stir up no trouble. He just left office. And that's a sign of progress right there. Now, what we got, we even see it with this stuff in Dalton, where you got them trustees that saying, no matter what, we getting this wicked, corrupt leader out, and we gonna get back in there. Now, is it gonna change the whole system? No, but the willingness, that's what we looking at, that we can see, hey, we can do this thing. We can get leaders, but we got to get rid of the ones that's in there. We seen that with some of the congressional races with the Congressional Black Caucus, where they would come in and try to get people to vote one way, and the people would not go for it. Now, I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I ain't that. So don't ask me about Biden or Trump, because I don't agree with either one of them. But I can kind of understand the stance somewhat on either side. But what we got to look at the end of the day is that neither one of them guys, that they get in the office, is really going to shift it for us. We got to try to lift up the people, black leaders that are amongst us, up to that will be willing to fight, not just political, but also those who are speaking moral things to us, that are out there saying moral stuff to us about get our families together, deal with the child delinquency. You do have some black mayors, some black attorneys, district attorneys that are trying to do the right thing toward our people. When we see that, we need to lift that up, especially if they coming in behind a crooked leader and they're trying to fill that vacuum. So that's one prayer that we have been seeing slowly. It's been slow, but we've been seeing some progress where Yah has been showing us, yeah, you got people among you that can do right. And we are seeing that with, like I said, Torre, Burkina Faso, Mali, Malian leaders, and ones in Niger. Yeah. What do you have to say about that? I know my wife has something to say about Burkina Faso because of, what she's seen, how they tied to that country, her father's side, to that country through DNA.
Yeah, my brother had did the DNA, African ancestry DNA, and we just so happened to be descendants from Burkina Fasans.
Yeah.
But the key and the main thing we must emphasize is new. We need the youth to take over, because the world we lived in from our time era and period is totally different than it is for the youth of today. So we have to, and when I say we as leaders that are in power right now, that have been there for 20, 30 years, it's time to give up that position.
It's time to go.
Let some new blood come in.
New blood.
Let some new ideas come in. Let some new inspiration come in. Let some new innovation come in.
Yeah.
To be able to deal with the times,
the technology,
and technology and times that we are in this period.
Yeah.
Our time is long gone.
Yeah, our time is over.
We have to let some new blood get in there. Even Yeshua say you don't put new wine in old
wine,
skins. So we need some new wine skins.
Yes.
We need the new wine.
Now we know ultimately the best government that's going to be on this planet is when Yeshua comes up to say his kingdom.
Yes.
But up until that time,
yes,
because we don't know how much longer we got, we have to promote our young, righteous black leaders and ask Most High to get rid of them. And give them the time to
have the experience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they'll be able to make decisions. Sometimes they might falter, but they'll have enough time to correct the things that they may lack or they need help in.
Yeah.
But if you're using up all the time in office as we older people, when is it going to be their time?
Yeah.
Let the ideas and their innovation come out while they are young. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Give them the opportunity. And I think we just need to get out of the way.
Yeah.
We've had our time.
So that was that one. And then we're going to skip this one right here because that's kind of saying the same thing. But this is another one that we've been praying over. And we're seeing progress. We pray that Yah would reveal and remove all corrupt black denominations, churches, mosques, camps, Hebrew assemblies, the leaders worldwide, and bring our people out of these religions. Because, like I said, now understand, within these denominations and all that, you do have people of Yah that believe in the Most High and His Son, that want to serve Him. But the system, it's such a thing as organization and an organ. An organ is something that's part of your body. It's alive, right? An organization is a system. It's not alive. So what has always hurt us as a people is when we get into these organizations that are not alive, and then what ends up happening is the people serve the organization. And when the Bible says it says the body of the assembly of Yeshua, what is it saying? It's talking about the heart, the lungs, the brain. We want to be part of an organ, not an organization, because that is dead. And so within this we've been praying, and really even before you've been seeing this really for the last, I would say around the 70s. Around the 70s, you will see where y'all was starting with the PTL stuff that happened. Then Jimmy Swaggart, you've been seeing it, but what happens is that system is always fighting back. It's not sitting down and this, rolling over. But what you have been seeing since the World Wide Web, sprang into the social media sites and everything, that the fight has been harder and harder for these organizations, where the information coming out against them is so much they can't knock it down. They can't pay people off now like they can. So now y'all is bringing this down. I think the COVID was the death knell for a lot of stuff, especially dealing with the Black Christian church. It was the death knell for a lot of them, where now you just got a bunch of older people that they too old to change their ways now. This is all they know. But you see the youth, they kind of like get that because they seen this corruption and all this stuff. And also even within other religions where you've been seeing, even like, you've been seeing some revelations coming out about mosque and Islam and even in some of these camps, Hebrew camps, and just religious leaders worldwide, right? One of my good friends that I deal with, he was part of a cult. Him and his former wife for 12 years. He was able to come out of that, and right now they're in federal court, and hopefully in the next couple of months we will be reading about how that organization is dead and how a lot of those corrupt leaders are gone to prison. Now, of course, we know this all is going to bring about the one world religion of Satan, where he's going to say, no more religion, just worship me, or worship yourself, which is the same difference. But also it's going to free a lot of people that were in these things that wanted to serve Yah with their whole heart, where they're saying, I don't need to be part of a denomination or anything like that. So it's going to be kind of a double-edged sword, where you're going to get people, once these religions and stuff are gone, that's going to go over to worshiping Satan or themselves. But you're going to have a lot that's going to be broke free out of these. Like me and my wife, that organization we was in, Church of God in Christ, when we was finally able to break free and get our life on track. That is a gigantic denomination. Although over the last some years, it's been hit really hard, rocked by a lot of stuff because of stuff coming out. So go get your don't go to the concession stand and get your popcorn, because by the time you come back, the movie might be over, and you're gonna see a lot of these denominations they folding, they're crumbling financially because they're not getting what they need. And so we have been praying, and we definitely been seeing progress with this, and it is a good thing. What do you have to say about that?
I think that the COVID was the best thing that could have happened to the people.
Yes.
You cannot even count all the people that came out and said, and a few that we know, said that they really got into their word.
During the COVID.
During the COVID, it was like, well, I got time on my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go to church because of the COVID virus regulations. Quarantine in the church.
Mm-hmm.
At the church. So they said, wow. I'm learning more now than I did.
We heard that all the time.
20, 30 something
I've been
years.
reading my Bible all these years, and I never seen this script.
That. So God knew what he was doing. This COVID actually was a blessing that God gave us.
To get
people
back in the
focus
word.
more on what man did with bringing out the COVID, but he don't know it. He was in line with God. God had that set up.
And
he was way ahead of them.
and also, like I said, the some of the now, of course, it's a lot of them that are fake, but you've seen so many preachers, teachers, and stuff that realize that all those years that they had been sitting in these churches, and they knew their Bible, they knew that they could teach their Bible, but they was not given an opportunity. And so you seen how a lot of them went out there. Some of them were couples, some of them were individuals, and they got out there and said, I'm going to just start teaching the Bible on YouTube. And now you see how they have been blessed to be able to use that gift that they would have never got to use in that building.
Right.
And you can see, because me and my wife, we used to say it all the time when we was in the Christian church. It used to be, quote unquote, members that was in the pews that could teach better than me, the pastor, the deacons, everybody. But they was just a member. Yeah. And there was no way that pastor was going to let them get up and out teach them. And I seen that with my own eyes. You see what I'm saying? Because it was all about raising money. Right, because they said it's all. They always used to say it ain't all about just preaching. Well, when Yeshua, what did the disciples say when they said, "Hey, these widows are out here starving, and can you feed them?" He said, "Hey, we can't leave the word of Yah for tables." He said, "We got to give ourselves to the ministry of the word and prayer. Appoint unto yourself these deacons to do this." We're not getting caught up into that. Not that that's a bad thing if you got ministries that minister to widows and people like that, but I'm saying that's what it was about, and it wasn't about. But with the YouTube, of course, people might have cash apps, or maybe you might do your little whatever. But for the most part, it's free. You just get on there and cut the video on, and you can hear some of the best teaching that rings around what your pastor or your bishop or your apostle who was talking about.
The sad thing about it is
it's free.
Yeah, it's free, definitely. But the sad thing is, you sat up there teaching your people, but you never got the chance to see how much they grew.
Yeah. Didn't care.
You ever heard of overfed?
Yeah.
Overfed babies?
Yeah.
And those babies needed to burn some of that fat.
Yeah.
Which was to get that word out of them, share it with other people.
And they might have had a different view than what you was teaching, but they didn't dare get up and say, "Well, Pastor, I don't know if that's what that scripture means."
Right.
Because they knew what would happen to them.
Never were given the opportunity to show you how much they've learned. Like you said, maybe even learn more than you.
Yeah.
But it's all about me.
Yeah.
Thus saith the Lord.
And so now what you find out is that a lot of these churches and stuff, they start going to YouTube ministries too and holding on. They was trying to cross-pollinate. But what eventually will happen is people will say, if you got YouTube, why are we still holding on to this building and paying all this stuff, right? And then someone would just wise up and say, you know what, I'm just going on. I'm moving on somewhere else. And I've seen that some of that even in some of my family members where they were like, you know what, yeah, I know you've been saying mama and daddy been going to this church all their life, but I mean, I'm not learning anything. I can go to YouTube and find out way more. The only reason we have this per se churches is a quote unquote family church, where it's more like a meeting place for mama, cousins, but why are we paying all this money? Why are we doing this to say we gotta, we can do that at a house or something?
Can you imagine how many other people that could have been reached if they had utilized the people that they had been feeding for years? Full of the word. But what do they do? Just keep them under their clutches.
Because you get paid.
Clutches. Ain't nobody can teach.
You get paid for being the subject matter expert, see? And even if you ain't the subject matter expert, because if the people would say, if Sister Sally Sue can preach better than the pastor, why are we paying you, Pastor, if you ain't reaching? So, of course, he had different ways that he would suppress. Right. He would tell Sister Sally Sue, I know she can teach, but I'm going to come up with, hey, she can pretty good cook pretty good. I'm gonna put her over ministry making cakes, and he said, "Oh, I love your cakes, your pies, all that stuff," to keep her away from getting out there and teaching, because she
Right.
would teach you under a pew.
Lost the focus. So many other people could have been
Yeah,
discipled and shepherded
yeah,
under the master,
Yeah.
Yeshua.
yeah. And so he breaking it up.
So the COVID had to come
Yeah,
for a lot of people to be reached.
yeah.
And like you said, so many people that had so much power and gifts
They couldn't
inside
use
of them, they couldn't use
it.
it.
They couldn't use
But
it.
it took the COVID.
But now is your time. This is
Yes.
what it was like in the first century when they got scattered to different places.
Yes.
When you was a believer running out of Jerusalem because of the persecution, when you ran to the next town, they would be like, "Why you run?" "Because I was testifying about Yeshua." And they said, "Tell us about Yeshua." And they would tell them, and the Most High would use them to run revivals and all that kind of stuff. "Quote unquote, just people." They
Just
wasn't
people.
apostles. They
That
wasn't
loved
deacons.
Yeshua.
But they had the testimony. So
Yes.
that's what it's always supposed to be. This Eurocentric design did not allow that.
Amen.
So now we're going to move on to the next one. And we're going to probably skip down for the sake of time because we don't want to run over out. But we're going to, if we have to, we can come back later. But this is a good one right here. "We have been praying that Yah will purge the rebels from among us in the black communities, like the gangs, the witches, the drug dealers, the whoremongers, sodomites and rapists, murderers, gossipers, religious hypocrite, con artists, false witnesses, all secret societies, and all ungodly ideologies." Now, it has not been perfect, but you have been seeing on YouTube and other places where there have been ministries and stuff, just like we got through saying, of people that had the courage, where the pastor wouldn't do it because he was part of a secret society. But
Right.
you got all of these things coming out where they're coming against these secret societies. People are coming against the violence in the community. People are coming against the drugs in the community. People are coming against the witches in the community. People are coming against this LGBTQ and the sexual stuff. People coming against our lack of dealing with mental health issues in the black community. You've been seeing a rise in that, where you've been seeing people say, "We got to deal with the mental health issues in this community," where nobody else would touch it. So we have been seeing how Yah has been doing that to try to purge some of this stuff that's secrecy stuff that has been going on in families, that has been ruining families and communities, where you're getting people to say, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. We got to speak out." Just like that stuff that's going on in Dalton, Illinois, where they've had corrupt mayors and people and stuff before, and they said, "Enough is enough. We're going to speak out. We don't care who it is. We're going to go to the media, and we're going to root this wickedness and evilness out." Because somebody said the other day, he said, "We have an accountability issue. We do not hold people accountable in the black community because of the racism thing, where we said, well, we can't spill all our dirty laundry to the public. But if these people are publicly doing this stuff, then we got to publicly rebuke it." And you have been getting people that have been publicly coming out and saying, "We don't want these elements in our community. We're not okay with this stuff that's going on. They don't speak for us." And that's I've been seeing how Yah has been raising that stuff up. Like I said, even for years, it's been people, forces for few that have been talking against these secret societies and talking about these fraternities and sororities and stuff, where they talk about preferential treatment only to members of them amongst the group. And we got family members amongst us that's part of it. So we're not sitting here, saying this because we don't have to worry about no backlash. Yes, we're going to get some backlash. I had backlash in the past from some of my family members when I would told them what I thought about it. And they're like, "Well, that ain't what you think." I said, "No, it's not what I think. It's not what you think. It's what the word of Yah says." So I'm used to the heat. But now you got so many more people that are coming out, and it's like a flood. It's like people saying, we tired of this stuff. We tired of this stuff that's going on with young girls and some young boys being touched and molested and all this other kind of stuff. It's being people that's rising up and standing up and saying enough. We don't want that. And the Diddy thing is a perfect example. Now, people have been for years talking about that, but so many more people. Now, of course, some of them are Johnny come lately. Some of them are people that might have been facilitating him, but now feel bad about it and want to come back and make it right. But no matter what it is, they're speaking out and say, we got to root this stuff out.
Yes.
But what has to be is we got to be consistent with it, with us saying we don't want this to be part of our quote-unquote culture. We don't want this stuff. We don't want drugs to be part of it. We don't want whoremongering and gossiping and all this kind of stuff, religious hypocrites and con artists, false witnesses, these secret societies. We don't want that. We don't need that no more. Mm-hmm. Or ungodly ideologies.
Yeah, it's amazing how, like I said, once again, the internet has helped
it's a double-edged sword.
Expose
yes.
a lot of these people that are murderers, drug dealers, sorcerers, in the church, witches, are being exposed.
Yeah.
So the internet has been a bonus, and plus the young people who are tired of seeing hypocrisy.
Yes.
And those that maybe had been hurt by the system.
Yes.
Of all these different organizations and people are tired, and they're coming out and they're saying enough is enough. Once again, new wine.
Yeah. They're tired
turning over the leaf.
Yeah. Because there has to be a righteous people that's going to be left on this earth. We're not saying, when we're saying that Yah is answering these prayers for us, that it's going to be a total 100% agreement. But remember, it was only 8 people that got on the ark.
Right.
Out of all the, so if it's 100, it's 1,000, if it's 1,000,000, it's still progress. It's still Yah answering our prayer.
Yes.
You know, because it seemed like where the news make it seem like everybody's a drug dealer, everybody's a witch, everybody's a whoremonger monster. Look at this black man, he's only 25 and he got 11 children by this different men or women and all this kind of stuff. No, that's not all of us.
But the Bible says righteousness is all of a nation.
Mm-hmm.
And when you find more people coming out, it gives other people who wanted to do it, it gave them courage to speak out themselves. So it's like a snowball effect.
Yes.
So it only takes one. Some people say, what can one person do?
The power of one.
You'll be surprised.
Yes. And that moves us on to this. We're going to go down here to this one. And this kind of goes on along with what we was talking about. We've been praying that Yah would eliminate domestic violence, shut down human trafficking of black women and children worldwide and black communities, which kind of goes to what we was talking about with the Diddy thing, which is before that you had the Epstein thing, where they said for years the federal government down there in Miami, the federal prosecutors have been trying to shut this guy down. But they said every time they went to court, they said one of the federal prosecutors used to tell people when they asked, why come you can't do nothing to this guy? He said, he is above my pay grade. But we see how Yah was able to expose some of that, and then they hushed that. But then Yah just been hitting it. Right? Because don't think that amongst this, that it's been, I ain't saying it has been Caucasian women that they're not amongst that. There is a lot of them, but there probably been even more of our women just because of the enormous amount of missing black women cases and children out there. Now, some of the women and children have fled because of domestic violence, where they don't expose themselves because they don't want their perpetrator to find them. But some of them have been trafficked and kidnapped and are caught up in this thing, like they show with Diddy, or even the stuff that's going on in Dubai and all these other places where they're trafficked over there and they do disgusting things or whatever. And Yah has been exposing that. He said that which was done on the in the closet would be shouted on, whispered in secret, it would be shouted on the rooftop. That was done in the corner will be brought out open, and that's what we're seeing. He's exposing this domestic violence and stuff that's going on, and indeed you're seeing these high profile cases where these guys are going out and they're killing their wife or their girlfriend and their children or whatever, and people saying, they've been getting 20 and 30 calls a month from these residents. So we see this is a problem now. In our time, this stuff was going on, but because of the norms, you want to use that word, it wasn't no thing, because men all over were doing it. Therefore, no man was going to stand up and say it was wrong, because then he would have to look in the mirror at himself. Because, what me and my wife got our own stories, we could tell about that growing up. But that was that time. Now Yah is showing, he's repealing, and he's showing the world as it is.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
You nailed it, baby.
Okay, so then we're going to move on to this. We've been praying that Yah would destroy prostitution, stripper clubs, gambling, dog fighting, puppy mill, and playing the lottery in black communities worldwide, because some of these things are places where we have taken this thing on, and it's taken a lot of money away. Not just that, but it's also corrupting our communities. And again, that kind of goes along with Yah exposing all the other stuff that's in our communities. And you have been seeing where now, of course, a lot of stuff goes online now where you don't see people walking up and down the street and all that no more, or whatever. And then as for the other stuff, you got the OnlyFans stuff, but like I said, the exposing of it will cause some to come out. We don't expect it to totally go away, but if some can be saved, I think the Bible in Jude says that some saved, some are gonna, and that's enough. If some come out, that is enough. If he can get some of us out of this stuff, that's what we're looking at. Okay, now we also had, and we're gonna talk on this one, destroy the worship of athletes, actors, musicians in the black community worldwide. And we kind of, we've been saying that.
And in progress these past, 5, 6, 7 years?
No, longer than that. Remember R. Kelly?
Boom, boom.
I never thought they would bring R. Kelly down. I said, man, this guy is a Teflon Don. Yeah. They finally got him in prison. But then, this stuff with Diddy is the one that I'm waiting to see. Although it's been a lot of people over the years that has been anticipating that they finally something would happen, but he was so a powerful mover and shaker. But not just him, some of the stuff with these actors and actresses and stuff.
Dwayne.
Yeah.
Everything just coming out.
Yeah, all of the Will Smith, his wife, and some of the stuff. I mean, all you had to do is look at their movies and some of the stuff they saying, but it was like scales over our people's eyes. But y'all was like, I'm gonna put it plain in your face when Will Smith went up there and slapped Chris Rock, and then of course everybody started investigating and all that stuff, and then they just started, all the House of Cards just started falling apart or whatever.
Jada.
All that. It was there. And we've been praying. This is before we even knew any of this stuff. We didn't know nothing when we put this stuff on the list. But we just knew that our people don't actually have actual idols that they go to in the house, but our idols are on the screen. Because when we see anybody successful in the black community, because of the things, we have that tendency to do that. And then when we do that, we give them a pass to do whatever they want, and then their behaviors. And therefore, they can do whatever, because they're like, these people, they love my music. They love my movies. I can do whatever I want. They ain't going to never stop supporting me.
What about that woman athlete that went to Russia with the refund?
Oh, yeah.
She got brought down, too.
I don't know if people really was kind of following her like that.
No, I'm just saying how exposing things that...
Yeah.
doing. And
But that now some people have turned that to try to make it a net positive for her to get sympathy because that she went through all of that in Russia and everything. So it's kind of divided because this goes back to the LGBTQ thing that we got to pray against, especially this month of where they join us with the Juneteenth with that, and it's kind of have overshadowed us. This is something that we're gonna have to constantly let it be known that we are not like that, and this is something that has been forced on us. This is not the normal behavior for the majority. I ain't gonna say that some of us, but if they have it their way, they're gonna change some of our mindset to think it is, but it's not. And so we got to look at that, and that all comes through the Hollywood movie stars and sports stars. They know if we love them enough, when they tell us it's okay, our people are follow. But you are seeing some pushback, like the thing with Marlon Wayans, where a lot of people was like, I like this movie, whatever, but I'm not down with that. And some of them are Dwayne Wade, all that. Magic Johnson, where a lot of people saying, you know what, I can't deal with that, but some are holding on to dear life, or even what some of these religious leaders that are soon to come out and whatever. It's gonna be something that's gonna cling up, but it's gonna be a remnant that's gonna say no, and that's what we talking about right here.
Yes.
Okay, and we're about to wrap up because it's just past an hour. But we also pray about Yah and increase the pouring out of His judgment upon all our oppressors, especially America, Europe, Middle East, and China. And if one thing with my wife, when we see these channels where they talk about these storms, these floods, these tornadoes, and
mudslides, and
wow, it's crazy.
Fires and
yes. It's crazy.
Hurricanes and tornadoes, just
and we be looking at these crazy people driving down the street into this big old thing of water, and I'm like, don't they see the water is taking these other cars, and they riding down there at full speed like they gonna be able to drive right through the water, and then their engines shut off, and you see them, they turn their windshield wipers on and blinking and like this idiot, crazy people. No. Then you see that flood of water, and it just carrying them, and like this stuff that just happened in Dubai. It was crazy.
Not only that, places where certain type of storms shouldn't be are there. Tornado here.
Germany.
You're like,
Europe.
From?
Yeah, big massive tornadoes in Germany and some of these other nations that was colonialist. You've been seeing how y'all had like France and other places in Europe when they had the heat wave, but then they had the flood, but then they had the thing on the island, the Canary Islands, whatever, that volcano that was eating up the island. I'm saying, it's like, we was like, wow, y'all is moving.
Yeah.
So then, where we're going? Oh yeah, we're gonna skip down to this one right here for time. But this is the last one on the list. We pray that y'all will bankrupt our companies, banks, landowners worldwide that got their wealth from slavery, but especially Adidas, Gucci, Burberry, Prada, Jack Daniels, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and Monsanto. Now, not all of them, but we remember what happened with Adidas with that Kanye West thing. Now, of course, we're not supporters per se of Kanye West, but his shoe sales and clothes sales were a major part of Adidas. And when all that stuff went down with what he was saying against the Ish people, and then they finally said, we got to get rid of the contract, Adidas lost a lot of money. Yeah. They lost a lot of money. Very lot of money. And I ain't saying that they ain't recovered, but I don't think it's gonna with the way the world going into what it is, I think they got hit hard. Now, I don't know about Gucci, I don't know about Burberry, I don't know about Prada. I'm pretty sure with the economy the way it is, inflation, it's not nothing but really, really rich people that's able to go out and buy this stuff. At least the authentic stuff. You might be able to get a knockoff, but to go into the Gucci, Burberry, and Prada store now, with the way inflation is now, you gotta have some money so you can match their hit. But this Jack Daniels was a very interesting one. Now, of course, this is liquor. You know, I ain't got nothing to say about that. That's your business. Bible said wine is Marcus Strong breed the way. But I remember watching this report some years ago about this black lady that went to Jack Daniels and asked them about how did they come about to get the Jack Daniels, you know, spirits or whatever. And they talked about this guy named Uncle Nearest. He was a black guy. He's the one that Jack Daniels learned how to make the Jack Daniels because they didn't know how to distill. He's distilled. But his family never got no credit for it. The only thing they did was allow him and his family to work at the factory. So what the black lady did was she went to the family and said, you know what? They're not really doing you right, but I ain't gonna mess with your stuff. She said, but what I want to do is get your permission to use one of their ancestor, Uncle Nearest, formula to start my own liquor company called Uncle Nearest. And she started from ground zero. Now she was a businesswoman, so she was not no rookie. But she has been able to build that brand into a brand that's now challenging Jack Daniels. Her Uncle Nearest brands are now $1 billion company because they took what they learned from Uncle Nearest and didn't even give him credit. They named it Jack Daniels. So now it is a liquor company called Uncle Nearest after him. And she said she took portions of that money she would give to his descendants. Like Jack Daniels wouldn't do. So Jack Daniels, I ain't saying that they might have been, quote, hurt by this per se, but the truth of who they are was brought out. It ain't had nothing to do with Jack Daniels. It was Uncle Nearest.
Was she able to get the recipe for it?
She was able to get something from that family because what Jack Daniels did, they could not take the whole thing from Uncle Nearest. So apparently he had other stuff that he had that family, his family, he gave to them. And they said, here, you can take this. And what she does, a portion of all her sales, she gives back to that family.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Now we know Wells Fargo is still here, but we do know that Chase and Wells Fargo, all of them, with all this stuff that's happening, a lot of these banks are going to start coming down now that the dollar is not the petrodollar no more. All of that is going to start, and that's been a time coming. And we also know Monsanto, the agriculture company that's been giving us all this messed up food with the GMOs and everything. Yeah, they tight here in this country, but in other countries, a lot of countries are rejecting them because they know what's happening to us here in America with our diet and with our health issues.
Remember we saw on YouTube, it was this African country that received Monsanto's rice.
Yeah.
And they stopped it from coming in.
Yeah.
What country was that?
I can't remember, but it's some countries that saying, look, we don't want it. And some of the people are pushing back. But this is why we're praying against these African leaders. The African leaders are trying to force the people. The people are trying to grow their own stuff. They're trying. That's why I like Burkina Faso. What did Torigo do? Not only he did get weapons of war to fight against these terrorists that were sent in by the West to disrupt their country, he got tractors so that the people can plow. He says food self-sufficiency is outside of defeating the terrorists is one of the major priorities. So we will not have to import from these companies, bring in their wicked seeds and fertilizer and all that stuff. So Yah is moving on that behalf. What do you have to say on that? New leadership. Yeah. Now, like I said, we understand when Yeshua comes, all of it had to be done with. But for the time being, we got to push back somewhat. So we just wanted to show you, this is just our little prayer. I'm sure it's some of you out there that have your own list. So if you got your own channel, the Bible said we overcome by the blood, words of our testimony and the blood of the Lamb. So we giving our testimony on what the Most High is doing for us, because we're continuing to pray over some of the stuff we didn't say about.
Making a list.
Yeah, and some of it is still yet in progress. But we're going to keep on praying until the Most High take us on home or Yeshua come. Whichever one come first. We're going to continue to pray on this.
Yes.
If he allow, if it's another 30 years and we in the old folks home and we still got this, we're going to continue to pray over this list. We're going to probably recopy it again, because it's already, you can see how it's falling apart when we pray over it. But you do the same. You pray and without ceasing, right? Because fervent, effectual prayer of a righteous man and woman availeth much. So with that, I'm going to give last word to my wife.
Yes, definitely. You want to see some changes and actually be able to document it. Write down what you want to pray for. Write down what the things that you want to change. Write down the things that you want to happen in your family and for other family members and friends. And be consistent with it.
Consistency.
And watch the progress of your prayers coming to pass.
Yes.
So do it soon, and don't hold back on all the things that you wish God you want him to do for you and your family.
And it was good to do another video with my lovely wife. It's been some years. And with that, I'm going to say...
And happy Father's Day.
Yes.
I love you.
Thank you. And we're going to say, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, and continue to pray without ceasing. Be blessed.